Hello everyone. So in today's video we are going to do a two-part video because today is going to be a lot of work. So I am making between 6 and 7 holiday Christmas baking recipes. Every year I do Christmas boxes for my friends and family, and I put baked goods in these boxes. So the first video is going to be us hopefully making all of the goodies. If I don't get to all of them, I might do some of them in the beginning of the second video. And then the second video is going to be us putting the boxes together. So let's get started on the first recipe. Okay, so the first recipe that we're going to make is cookie dough fudge. So I wanted to get we're actually making 2 fudge recipes today. The first one is cookie dough fudge and the second is eggnog fudge. So I wanted to get this started so they can have time to set. So I'm going to double this recipe. So let's start with, it calls for half a cup of butter. I'm going to be using a whole cup. I just wanted to show you guys, I don't know if you guys have this anywhere else, but here in Canada, we have measurements on our pound of butter to show us what a quarter, a half a cup, and a whole cup is. Just if you don't see me measuring, that's why. It shows me already how much it is. So I'm going to be we're doubling the recipe. So if you want less quantity, do half of what I'm doing. So we're going to do a whole cup of butter, which is half of one of these blocks. I'm just going to cut this into chunks so it's easier to blend. And we need to cream it together with a little bit of powdered sugar and a little bit of brown sugar. So this recipe gives us the option if we want to use brown sugar or powdered sugar. I think I'm going to use a mixture of both. I make a cookie dough icing, and the brown sugar is what gives it the cookie dough flavor. So I think I'm going to do, it says half a cup, so a whole cup. So I think I'm going to do half a cup of brown sugar and half a cup of powdered sugar just to give it the right flavor. So this is a half cup measure. Half a cup of powdered sugar. I like having measuring cups already in my flour and my sugars and stuff. It's more convenient. Okay, let me see here. And you can either use almond flour or all-purpose flour. We're going to use all-purpose. I think we're going to cream this together with some vanilla first. Okay, it says 1 teaspoon, so 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So let's cream this together. Okay, so I need a whole teaspoon of salt because I'm doubling. So we're just going to put it right in with this. So now we're supposed to add the flour. One cup. It says 2 cups of flour. This is a no bake or a no cook recipe. So we're going to see. Now we're supposed to add in 1.5 cups of melted white chocolate. I just melted it in the microwave. I have a feeling these are going to be kind of sweet. We'll see. And then 1 can of condensed milk. And then we're going to blend all this together. Okay, and then we're supposed to add 1 to 2 cups of mini chocolate chips. So I have little mini ones here, semi-sweet. Let's see how much that does. Add a little bit more. Actually, let's just add them all. Okay, I kind of want to give this a taste just because I'm a little curious what this tastes like. I want to make sure it tastes good before I give it to people, right? Tastes just like cookie dough. It's awesome. Okay, now I'm going to spray the pan and we can put this in the pan. It's really good, actually. I'm a little surprised. I figured it would taste really floury, but it doesn't. Just mixing up some of this. So this needs to chill in the fridge for at least 6 hours, but this will be part of tomorrow's video, part 2, when we cut into this and package them all and stuff. So I doubled the recipe so I have enough for all my boxes and a little bit for us to enjoy too. I am making between 14 and 16 boxes. I'm making quite a few. So, this looks delicious. Oh my gosh. So I did grease this pan with some cooking spray. It says you can use cooking spray or parchment paper. I decided spray was probably the easiest. Okay, so now let's move on to, we got a lot to get done. So let's move on to eggnog fudge because it needs to set as well. It is a cook recipe though, so that one needs to be cooked. So I'm going to clean a little bit of this up and then we'll start on the second recipe. Okay, so for this one, I'm only 1-timesing the recipe. So I need about 1/2 cup of butter. Let's get my knife here. So that's half of what's left in here. Put it right in the pot. I have the heat on low to medium here. I just want to chop this up so it melts a little faster. This is the eggnog fudge that we're making. Not sure if I mentioned that. I'm pretty sure I did, but just in case I didn't. Okay, so we're just melting the butter. And then we need 3/4 of a cup of eggnog. You're supposed to pour that in with the butter while it's melting. Wasn't sure if I needed more. Okay, Okay, so we're just waiting for the butter to finish melting here. It's almost done. Mixed with the eggnog. I'm going to add in the sugar. We need 2 cups of sugar. This is a 1/2 cup measure. Gosh, I think this is going to be really sweet. It's got a lot of sugar in this recipe. Just mix that in so it melts nice and smooth here. Okay, and we need some vanilla. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. A little bit more is good. We need half a teaspoon of nutmeg. We also need some of this for on top. Just mix that in here. Okay, we just need to let this reach 234 degrees on our candy thermometer here. So I'm going to let this cook a little bit, wait for it to reach the temperature. And then we need to let it cool for a minute, and we need to add marshmallow cream. I've never actually used this before, so that's interesting. But this is what we need for this recipe. Okay, so it just reached 200. Actually a little past. It's actually heating quite fast. Let me turn it down a little bit. Okay, so that's pretty close. Let me see here. 10, 20, yeah, in 1 minute here it should be right on the nose. I'm just stirring it constantly. I don't want it to burn. $20, $30. Yes. Okay. So now we're supposed to turn off the heat. Okay. So we have 12 ounces of white chocolate that we are supposed to melt once it's off the heat. So we're supposed to stir that in until it's melted. This is why I figured this recipe might be a little sweet. We'll see when we taste it. Just because of the sugar and the white chocolate and the marshmallow, it sounds sweet to me, but we'll see. I thought the cookie dough was going to be a little sweet, but it wasn't. You can see the specks of nutmeg throughout there. Looks really yummy. This chocolate is giving this mixture a really nice sheen. I don't know if you can see that. Let me show you. I wonder if you can see that sheen. There we go. Really nice sheen. So we're just melting all the chocolate here, making sure all these lumps are gone. You want the fudge to be nice and smooth. Let me try using my whisk here. Oh yeah, that works better. There we go. Okay, now we're supposed to add this entire container of marshmallow cream to this. I'm assuming this is what holds the fudge together. Okay, let's try mixing this in. This is enough to fit an 8x8 pan. I've already got my pan greased and ready. I just used some cooking spray. Make sure this is nice and smooth. Okay, I think I'm going to switch utensils again. There we go. Okay, let's give this a taste. I'm curious what this tastes like. Hopefully it's not too sweet. It's a little sweet. I mean, it's fudge. Fudge is sweet. It's got an interesting taste to it. I think it's the eggnog. I definitely taste the eggnog and the nutmeg. Okay, now let's put this in my pan that I have greased. Okay, so here's my 8x8 pan. I think my son is going to love this recipe. He loves eggnog. That is one of the reasons why I bought another eggnog, because I figured he might have drank the other one already before I got a chance to use it. Okay, so now we're supposed to sprinkle just a little bit of nutmeg on top. And then we let this sit for a few hours in the fridge. Tomorrow. We'll cut into these tomorrow in the next part 2 video. See how everything turned out together. Hopefully it turns out. There we go. I think that's good. So there is the eggnog fudge. So now let's start with, let me see what other recipe I got here. Chocolate chip shortbread cookies. That's the next one we're going to make. Okay, chocolate chip shortbread cookies. So we need, I'm going to double this recipe. So we need 2 cups. 1 times the recipe is 1 cup. So 1 whole cup is half of this block here. I'm used to making shortbread cookies, but I had never tried one with chocolate chips in it. I thought that was an added bonus. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before and just chop it up so it's a little easier to blend. If you hear music in the background, my stove, my oven, plays a little song when it's preheated. It doesn't beep. It plays a song. So be warned, that's what it is in the background if you hear it. Okay. We'll use these 2 for a different recipe. I have a lot of butter taken out for this. Okay, so we need a whole teaspoon of salt. We need 1.5 cups of confectioner sugar. That is 2 times the recipe. 1. This is a 1/2 cup measure. 3. Okay, so let's mix this together and then we'll add the flour. It's going everywhere. On the lowest setting too. It's like everywhere. I'm usually fairly clean when I cook, so it's taken a bit to do this. Okay, so this isn't creaming together very well. So I'm going to add just a tiny, tiny bit of this melted butter that I have. Hopefully that'll help it cream together a little better. I'm just noticing this recipe doesn't have any liquid in it. That is super weird. Let me look over this recipe and make sure I'm not missing something. Well, I'm not missing anything, it says. It says I just need to cream this together until it starts coming together. So that's what we're going to do. There we go. That's better. Till it's light and fluffy. I don't know if you heard my oven playing the song in the background. Okay. Now let's add the flour. Okay, so we need 4 cups of flour. This is the part that's making me nervous, is because this is not extremely wet. So we'll see how this turns out. I think I'm going to add 1 cup at a time. Two. Feels decent. I don't know. We'll see if this is too dry or not. Because I'm doubling this recipe, so I need 4 cups altogether. 4. Okay, let's see how this turns out. This is super dry. I wonder why. Okay, well, I'm just going to add a little bit of the butter. I could add water, but I think butter would probably be better for this recipe. See if I can get it to combine a little bit here. Still quite dry here. I think I'm just going to add the rest. There, I think that's better. I did add some extra butter to this just to give it the right texture. That's better. Okay, so now we're going to add some mini chocolate chips to these. It says about 3/4 cup for 1 times the recipe. So it should be most of this bag, but we'll see here. So I'm just going to mix this in with my hands. Yeah, I think that's good. Let's just add the rest. Make them nice and chocolatey. Shortbread cookies have like a real creamy taste, but bland at the same time. So I really wanted to try one that had chocolate chips in them. I thought it would be delicious. Okay, so let's roll this out and put them on my new baking sheets. I I've had to tell you guys a couple times in videos that my baking sheet is stained. It's actually been quite stained since the first day I bought it. I made cookies in it and it stained the pan forever. So I went out and bought a couple new ones. I needed some new ones anyways. So we're gonna roll these out and put them on the pans. Okay, so we need, they want this rolled out to 1/4 inch thickness. I'm going to dump everything out here. It's very flaky. How about I do this in 2? I think that might be a little easier. Let's put this one over here. Shortbread dough is usually quite flaky like this. Just got to incorporate it a bit here. I think that the next time I make something like this, I'm probably going to use my regular shortbread recipe that I like, and then just add chocolate chips to it. I think that would probably be a little nicer. My regular recipe is a lot nicer than this one. This one is really flaky. Just let my hands warm the butter a little bit so it sticks together a little more. I finally got a new rolling pin. I don't have to use a wine bottle again. So it said to roll these out to about 1/4 inch thickness. Yeah, this dough is very flaky. I would like to see a little bit of moisture in it. Just a little. And my butter was not chilled. It was warm. Room temperature butter is what it calls for. These are supposed to bake at 350 for 13 to 15 minutes. I had to think about that for a minute. This is loaded with chocolate chips. Hopefully I didn't add too many. It's Christmas, it's okay. Okay. Let's try cutting a few of these. I'm a little worried these are going to fall apart. So I do have round cookie cutters, but I figured I would take my little mini pie shell tart pans and do a little floured one. Okay, let me put the parchment paper on my sheet pans here, and then we'll try our best to put these onto the sheet pans. So I'm going to use a frying pan turner. I think that's the easiest way here. And then I'm just going to fill the pans. I'll show you once I'm done that, just so you don't have to watch the whole back and forth process. Okay, I finally got them onto the sheets here. It was a little difficult. They are kind of crumbly. I would add a little bit of water to this recipe if I was to ever make it again. I did a little tiny one for me to taste when they come out of the oven. So I'm going to bake these for, I think I'm going to check them in 10 minutes. Just because my oven, I'm still getting used to my oven, and it runs a little hot. So I think I'm going to check them in 10 minutes, and then if they need a little longer, we'll cook them for 13 to 15. So I'm going to put these in the oven, and then we can get started on the next recipe. Okay, so the next recipe is a thin mint cookie recipe. So I'm going to be doubling this recipe for sure, because I know everyone's going to love this one for sure. So I'm going to double it. So I need 1.5 cups of butter. I came prepared with the butter. A lot of butter in these recipes. Okay, let's look at these ones first, see how much there's in this one. Oh, actually, might not need this one. It's 1 cup. And yes, this is a 1/2 cup. Take out the packaging here, stuck to it. Okay, 1.5. We'll save this one for the next recipe. I'm sure I need more. I took out what I needed, so I'm sure we need more. Let me just throw these in the garbage. Okay, so I'm just going to chop this up a bit so it's easier to cream. This was all room temperature butter too, I want to add, just so it would be easier to blend. Okay, so now I need 2 cups of sugar because I'm doubling it. The sugar has a bit of lumps, so I'm going to try my best to not get the lumps in here. So 2 altogether. One. Two. Let me see if I can break up some of these lumps first. I had it stored a certain way, and a little bit of moisture had gotten in the bag, so that's why I have some lumps. Okay. So let's cream this together. Oh, I gotta wash my mixer, my beaters. So I just checked on the shortbread cookies with the chocolate chips, and I think I cut them just a little bit too thick, so I had to put them on for another 10 minutes. So 25 altogether. So let's cream the butter and the sugar together while we're waiting. Okay, we need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Half. And that's doubled. We need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. We need 2 eggs. don't want to get the shell in there. 2 eggs. Okay, let's beat that together. Oh wait, I see a shell. Hold on. Ooh, I got it. Okay, so let's blend this together. Okay, we need about 4 teaspoons of vanilla. 4. And we need about a half a teaspoon to a whole teaspoon of peppermint extract. Sorry about that. I had to get the lid off of this. So, it says a quarter of a teaspoon, so times 2 is half. Okay. Hopefully that's not too strong. I'm just making sure I've got all the ingredients here. Cocoa powder is the only one left. So let's mix this in. Okay, so we need 1.5 cups of cocoa powder. That's doubled. I like to sift my cocoa powder. It always has lumps. So this is a 1/4 cup. Oh, gotta check the cookies. It plays a song. Okay, I think they're perfect, so I'm going to take them out. They don't look raw in the middle. Let's add the cocoa powder. So 1.5 cups? Yes, 1.5 cups. So this is a 1/4 cup measure here. Quarter. Oop. Half. 3/4. This is 3/4 of a cup so far. If you see all these lumps in here, this is the reason why I sift it. Cocoa powder is notorious for being lumpy. Okay, so that was 3/4. I got another can of this here. I figured I might need it. It's a whole cup. These are very chocolatey cookies, so that's why there's so much cocoa powder. It's probably why there's so much sugar as well, to offset the cocoa powder. I just have the oven preheated again for these cookies. Plays a song every time. Okay. So we need another 1/2 cup. 1/4. Let's see if I got enough in here. These cookies later get dipped in chocolate. We'll probably do the dipping process either later today or tomorrow. I figured I'd do most of the melting of the chocolate tomorrow. There's a lot of things that we're making that need to be coated in chocolate. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to mix that in. That is quite sticky. Does this have any flour in it? So the recipe does have flour. I just completely missed it. So we need 3 cups of flour. I was like, how is this possible? One, 2. I wish you could smell this. It smells delicious. Yeah, it's nice and moist for when we roll it out, because we have to roll these out and cut them into circles. Okay, I just want to make sure all the flour and stuff is mixed in off the bottom here. It's not. Let me see. Get a spatula here. Mix it all in. Just want to give this a tiny taste, make sure the mint is enough. It's not bad. I think it needs more mint though. These are going to have a mint chocolate dipped. They're going to be dipped in mint chocolate, basically. Mint flavored chocolate. These are good though, but I think we need to add just a tiny, tiny bit. Okay, let me blend this in so it blends nicely, and then we'll get to rolling these out. Let's roll these out. Not sure if I'm going to need flour for this, but probably. Roll the dough out here. Okay, let's do half of this at once. It smells delicious. The mint smells so nice. Nice and moist. So I'm going to use this little cutter here. I want to keep them a fairly smaller size. I wish you could smell this. It smells very minty. Washed my rolling pin from when we did the other cookies. So these also need to be rolled out to a 1/4 of an inch thick. All I'm doing is cutting it to a more manageable size, that's all. So I took the shortbread cookies off and put them on the counter and prepared the pans again to be used. So tomorrow, in part 2 video, we are going to dip these in mint chocolate. Probably a dark chocolate with mint extract for flavoring. I wanted to get the main portions done today in today's video. And then in part 2, we're going to do all the chocolate stuff and putting the boxes together. Been a long day. Fun day though. I love baking. Baking is one of my favorite things. In this recipe, I doubled because I know for a fact my whole family is going to love this, so I wanted to make sure there was extra for my family too. Probably should put a little bit of flour down. Let's see how easily this comes up. It doesn't. Let me put some flour down. I just don't want too much flour. I don't want them to be white. So these are meant to be really thin cookies. I think it said that they only cook for 9 minutes, 9 to 10 minutes. Let me look. 7 to 10 minutes. So that's pretty fast cooking. So I want to make sure they're the right thickness here. You could probably make these in whatever size cutter you would like. I wanted to make these fairly manageable for me. I do have a lot of boxes to fill. So I'm going to finish cutting these out, and then once I'm done cutting them all out, and I put them on the pan, and I'll give you a look before I put them in the oven. So I'll be right back once that's done. Okay, so I finally got them on the pans. That is 35 per pan. Plus I still have all this. So I'm going to bake these for about 7 to 10 minutes, and then I'll show you when they come out. They're out of the oven. They didn't spread too much. I didn't think they would. I ended up cooking them for 12 minutes. So let me get these onto the parchment paper over here and finish baking these, and then we'll start on the next recipe. So we've been doing this for 4 hours. So I still have 3 recipes. So we are going to do 2 of them in part 2 video. Soft gingerbread cookies and peanut brittle is going to be in the next video. We'll do it in the beginning of the video before we start putting chocolate on everything. But for today, the very last recipe we're going to do in today's video is brownie recipe. I need a brownie recipe for chocolate cherry bombs. Basically a cherry covered in brownie and then covered in chocolate. So we need to make sure this is cooked and cooled for tomorrow. So we're going to do that right now. Last recipe for this video, and then we'll finish the other 2 in the next video. Okay, so let's start with flour. So we're going to double this recipe because I want to make quite a few of these chocolate covered cherry bombs is what they're called. So we need about 1.5 cups of flour. Half. Need 1.5 cups, actually 3 because we're doubling this. 3 cups of regular sugar. Break up the chunks here. 2. Actually, that was 1 cup, 1.5. This is a 1/2 cup measure. 1.5. 2. 2.5. Gotta fill my sugar container here. 3. I'm just breaking up the big chunks here from my sugar. Okay. And then we need, this is weird, we need a whole cup of powdered sugar. Thought that was weird, but it is what it is. Half. Whole cup. And then we need 1 teaspoon of salt. This is doubled, remember. Doubled. Okay, so now we need, just 1 sec, I want to check something in the recipe. Okay, I was just checking the ratios of the cocoa powder. So I already washed the other one. It's already in the dishwasher if you can hear it in the background here. So we need half a cup, so we need a whole cup. So we need 4 of these. So we're going to use my little one here. Hopefully I don't get it everywhere. I wasn't thinking straight before I washed it. I forgot we still needed to do the brownies. I like to clean as I go, just so there's not as much mess at the end here. It's a good thing I have a couple different sizes of these. So I wanted to get these brownies made ahead of time, just so that they have, like, it takes 40 to 50 minutes to cook this recipe, plus they need to cool before I can put them, handle them for the mixture, for the cherry bombs. So I figured making it tonight would be better than doing it tomorrow. So that's 3. Last one. Very, very chocolatey brownies. This one doesn't have melted chocolate in it. I didn't want to use a melted chocolate recipe only because I know all the other chocolate I need to use for everything else. So that's why I chose a brownie recipe that just takes cocoa. There we go. Okay. So that is just the dry ingredients. Let me give that a little stir. Just kind of mix it up a little bit. Okay, now let's add the wet ingredients. Hopefully it all fits in this bowl of mine. Okay. So we need 4 eggs. Two. 4. Clean that up in a minute. And then some vanilla. We need 2 teaspoons of vanilla. If you watch any of my baking, I like to eyeball it. Vanilla is usually, most recipes I find don't call for enough seasoning, so I like to add a little extra. 2 tablespoons of water. Just one sec, I'll get that. So that would be technically 4 tablespoons of water. Okay. And about half a cup of olive oil. I'm going to eyeball this as well. Okay, so let's mix this. Hopefully it doesn't go everywhere. Let me see. Let me make sure it's in right. Oh, they got stuck together. That's what it is. Okay, let me get these unstuck and then we'll finish. Okay, so we're going to finish mixing this by hand. Let me find a spoon here. Because my beaters are bent. Somehow I bent them today. It's okay, it was almost completely mixed anyways. This is what it looks like. Okay, so let me spray the pan and then we'll put this in. And then we're going to bake these for 40 to 50 minutes. So I sprayed my pan here. I'm using my freezer meal pans for this. I don't have a lot of big pans like this for baking. Okay, let me try and get this all out here. It's going to be delicious tomorrow, I think. Got a lot of things to cover in chocolate tomorrow. There's another recipe we're going to make tomorrow, but it's easy. All it is chocolate covered pretzel rods. So we're going to do all of that in the next video. Let me try and get the rest of the thick here. This is really thick batter. Okay, I think that's good. Let's just mix it around here. So like I was saying, I'm going to bake this for probably, I'll set the timer for 40 minutes and then I'll check it. And hopefully it doesn't need another 10 minutes, but if it does, there we go. So I'm going to stick this in the oven. Okay. Okay, everybody. So I have a lot of cleaning to do. I got a big mess on the counter here. Let me show you. I got to clean all this up, package all these in the containers, do some more of the dishes. So this is where I'm going to end the video for today, guys. I hope you come back for part 2. The part 2 is going to be in the very next video. And we're going to be making soft gingerbread cookies and peanut brittle and chocolate covered pretzel rods. And then we are going to package all of this and put it in the gift boxes. I have a whole bunch of gift boxes on my table. So that's what we're going to do in the next video. So I hope you come back. I hope to see you next time. Bye.